And you mentioned the bathroom scene, and I think one of the things that's the most effective about those scenes is that that's her only safe space, but it does not feel like a safe space. Like every time that you're in that bathroom, like something physically traumatic is going on. But this is like her area where like this is the only space she has to sue / Elizabeth. This is kind of her only area. So that's an interesting point that I hadn't really thought too much about with the bathroom scenes. But like now that you mentioned it, the more I think about it, the more like there's so much in there. But I kind of want to ask everybody, the substance has a hyper focus on the commodification of the female body and the horrors of aging, particularly in the entertainment industry. So do you think this movie could have been made in the 90s or 2000s? And if so, do you think the tone would be different?
Yeah,
I mean, very loaded question.
Yeah,
I'm gonna start again because I'm just such a keener, and because I am like on the cusp of my 40th birthday, so I'm turning far past my expiry date in 1 month, and I've just come back into the acting world for the first time in something like 14, 15 years. And so one of the things that had stopped me for so long going back into it was this idea that's in the substance about the commodification and the obsession with youth. And my thoughts were always like, oh, I'm not young anymore. I'm not going to be able to do this game. But seeing Demi Moore on that screen was part of actually what prompted me to go back in, because I was like, well, fuck it. Look how good she looks up there. And she's incredible. And she's like in her prime. Fuck that idea of youth being the ultimate grail of power. I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. For that reason, I think that because of the way that society has changed, it is best suited to this era. You could have tried to make it in the thousands, or the early thousands, you could have tried to make it in the 90s with different actors, with different ideas, but it wouldn't have landed the way it does now. And the main reason is because we are so inundated with this message of plastic surgery, of women becoming perfect, of this uncanny valley version of humanity, that we're starting to understand that the uniqueness that made, specifically in this case, women so powerful in the past, or the uniqueness that set us apart, that's being lost. And so when the substance comes up and it shows that in sort of that metaphorical tone, that helps us understand why we've gotten to this point. And so this kind of shit was still happening in the early 2000s, in the 90s, where people were starting to be like, ooh, I kind of want to look more like this, and could I actually change this? And now we're taking a little bit of a step back and we're making a deeper evaluation of what that means for us as a society, but also what it means for how women are perceived. So could it be made in other eras? 100%. Would it have been as good? Probably not.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, like
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Allie, did you have a?
Yeah, go ahead, Allie.
Yeah, I think that, especially if it was made in like the early 2000s or in the 90s and stuff, it would have been much different, because I don't think it would have been a female director. I think it would have been a male director telling what they view as a female story. And I don't think it would have been, Demi Moore, who's 61. It would have been someone who was like 40, and they would have shoehorned in a love story for some reason. And it would have been more of that male gaze gratuitous nudity versus what I feel Caralie did, which was they're just naked. This is just what it is. It's just a fact. Yeah. These are boobs. This is a butt. They're just naked. And it would have had probably someone with like I love Demi Moore's body. I love that she has embraced it, but I feel like it would have been someone who maybe has a tighter butt, maybe looks a little bit better than Demi Moore does in this, even though I think she looks fabulous in it. And yeah, I think mostly I don't think it would have been directed by a female. I think it would have been a lot more massage. I don't think the men would be as the caricatures that they are in this present day version of it. Like, I feel like they would have given Dennis Quaid a lot more to do. And I think that that's why this works, is because they're like, no. He is a character of a douchebag. This is what he is. When he's eating all those shrimp, none of that would have happened.
Go eat your shrimp. Yeah.
The whole scene where
4 pounds of shrimp.
But that whole scene where Demi Moore is just like eating and cooking and looking disheveled, that like would not.
That gave me so much anxiety. Oh man.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just in the theater, like that was the one part of the movie out of everything that made me pull my coat over my head because I just like couldn't handle it.
I was so here for it because I was like, yeah, eat all that food. I don't care if you eat. How often do beautiful
finger
women
licking and
shove stuff in their faces all the time?
And then he walks up and puts his arm around a guy without even wiping his hands.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All of them.
The old grease wipe.
We've all done it.
If I had a nickel.
Or just watching people and be like, love you, and just wiping my hand across their back.
So I was going to save this for later, but my name is 4 Pound Shrimp tonight. 4 pounds of shrimp because apparently Dennis Quaid ate approximately 4 pounds of shrimp in the filming of that scene, which is
that's a lot of shrimp.
Which I was like, that's a lot of shrimp.
That's commitment. That's commitment for a role.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it, like, sorry, just that food scene reminded me of this too. Is just like the preposterousness of the setup and a lot of the things in the movie are on the surface preposterous, but once you kind of buy in, you're like, yeah, but it's like this is what I'm getting into. You kind of like you allow it all to happen, right? And so like again, like the bathroom, like nobody has a bathroom like that, I don't think, right? Like I mean, I've never seen one like that.
Yeah,
so,
rich people
and you're like,
have them.
and I think when in the first scene when you see that, I was like, look at this bathroom. Like I think I said something
Not
like that.
the whole apartment that she has that's like stunning and beautiful and huge.
Yeah, like not in a shitty way, but I was just like
unrealistic.
Like, this
anyone can have this apartment, but that bathroom,
man, I'd kill for a bathroom like that. But like
tub and a shower, what?
But I just yeah. So, but I was like, but then that all like the food scenes as well, right? It's like she's like, I'm just gonna cook everything and eat everything, and it's like. But it's like more food than you could possibly even imagine, like in one scene. But I thought that was prevalent throughout the entire movie, especially up to the climax of the film and the third act, where it's so kind of crazy that it really hammers home, like you were saying, Lauren, like hammers home like that point of like, no, this is this movie. Like this is the movie that you signed up for. This is what
you're strapped in for. Yeah.
Even if you didn't know what you were going into, it's like once you're there, you're there, and like there is literally no escaping it. You can't look away because the sounds are there. You can't like kind of pretend you're not looking because something will be like on the screen and will be revolting. And if you walk out of the theater, you can hear the people in the theater screaming. So it's an unescapable glory.
Yeah.
In the fact too that like subversion of the audience, where I thought like that the scene with the finger, I thought was really brilliant. Great makeup, like amazing, but it was so like it's like, and I noticed like how she filmed it was like the finger is always in frame, like it's always there to remind you and stuff. And then I was just like, I'm like, no, like that's when you would stop. Like you wouldn't do any more than that. And then she's putting on the gloves when she's going on that date. But then you're like, oh no, like this is gonna get worse and worse. And yeah, I don't know.
Like the whole film is kind of built that way too, right? Like at the very beginning of the film, it's all gloss, it's veneer. It's glossy, it's sexy, it's like a car commercial. And then it slowly starts fading into, oh no, this is the reality. And then this is the grotesque that comes with all of that kind of thing. And it you watch the movie gradually change from that. And it does it so well. And it just keeps you along with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I feel like if this was made in the 90s or 2000s, first off, a reminder that the 2000s brought us like Euro Trip and White Chicks and Freddie Got Fingered, and like that was the comedies of the time. And I feel like they would not have been able to handle this film with the maturity that's required to get it done.
Freddie Got Fingered is a classic.
Yeah, I don't know why you're ripping on. I don't know why you're ripping on Freddie Got Fingered.
I'm not ripping on. I'm saying it's a fact.
That
is comedy of our
film. That's a film that, like, again, not a bad film, but very different from The Substance. Absolutely very different from The Substance.
What?
So I feel like this is a film
that those two movies. You're like, this movie isn't Freddie Got Fingered.
It's not that.
Thinking it's that.
Is that your pairing, Kels?
It's not White Chicks. It's not American Pie. Like, it's different from those. No, but I feel like, as Ali was saying, like, it would have been handled by a male director. It would have been handled a lot less delicately and a lot less realistically as well. So I feel like having this film done now, when it's made, following all of the movements and the awareness and everything that we've been kind of flying through over the past 5 to 10 years, this was the time for this film to be made. This was the cast and the crew for this film to be made. And I feel like that's kind of one of the things that makes it so special, is that it's very much of its time, but it's also a very classic concept as well. It's very picture of Dorian Gray. It's very like David Cronenberg's The Fly. Like it's not a new concept, but it's told in such an interesting way that I think makes it really, really special. But Makeup Billy, let's hear your thoughts. On the spot.
Yeah.
Wondering.
I honestly think that if it was made in the 80s, it would probably still be pretty decent. I do think so. Just not just effects wise, but again, like maybe Cronenberg would have been the one who directed it. But like if we're talking bodies, it would have been so different. Kind of like you were saying. And like even thinking like 90s, 2000s, like that would have been massive boobies on screen, butt. But what's interesting is she takes this person who's into fitness and you're like, they're sticking with this sort of strong body vibe, which is interesting, right? Considering back then that wasn't, the 80s maybe. The 80s maybe they were kind of into that. Who was it? Farrah Fawcett?
Death Spa.
Hell yeah. Oh, Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda. There you go. Right?
Oh,
like
who's making a comeback with her workout tapes?
No, is she?
I just saw an influencer post like getting a press box for it, and it's like an actual. They sent her like a TV with a VHS tape. They sent her a VHS, and it's Jane Fonda now being like, "Here's my new VR workout," and I'm like, "Shut the front door."
I need that.
Jane Fonda,
perfect time for this.
Jane Fonda is immortal. Like I don't even know how old she is, but it's crazy.